Hi guys, so welcome back to the next session in this setting up your base series. So I've had to rearrange. We've moved down here onto the floor. I'm sorry for cutting my head off up here, but it's most important that you see what's going on down here, and hopefully I keep the microphone in position where you can hear what I'm doing. So this session is just the very beginning. We're going to go through removing the strings from your base. Now that might seem like a really simple task, but there are better ways to do this to just avoid any damage to your instrument. So the ideal thing really is to work on a proper work table, have a soft cloth down to avoid any scratches or anything like that. I don't have that. I've got one out in the garage, but that's hardly a suitable workstation. Next best really is working here on the floor, carpeted floor. Your base isn't going to scratch up if it rolls around on the floor there. Just somewhere where it's not going to fall out down anywhere. You're not going to drop anything and lose anything. Best position to do. So really for this session, the only thing you need to have is a set of wire clippers. These are pretty good ones, but anything that will at least get through a set of wires, it doesn't have to be like a super neat thing, especially for this section. So the first thing you want to do is loosen up all your strings. Now, a lot of people do like to use string winders. I've got nothing against them whatsoever, but I've just never been in the habit of using them for some reason. I do think that when we're restringing the basses, I do prefer to wind them by hand just because it keeps those coils really nice and neat around the tuning pegs. And I think when you wind too fast, you can get that wrong. Now, there is a school of thought that says that you shouldn't take off all the strings in one setting. The tension of the neck is going to change, everything's going to spring out of place, and you'll damage your instrument. I really don't think that that's going to happen. If you're worried about it, you can do this whole thing one string at a time, entirely up to you. Personally, I think these things are a lot more hardy than those people are giving credit for. So I just do it all at once, and it does give you a good opportunity to clean your bass properly, which we'll go through in the next video. So you've got all the strings off. What you get at this stage, I really shouldn't have worn a white t-shirt at this point because you can't really see what's going, but you get the strings off, but you get those coils at the end. Now you can just pull those through the bridge, but what's best really is if you just trim those off at the end. Doesn't have to be super neat or anything. Trim those bits off. Make sure you know where those go because those are sharp edges. And those really hurt if you get them stuck in your hand or in your feet. Trust me on this. This is experience talking. So get those off. Keep an eye on where they are. And then you've got the ends of the strings nice and clear. Now, my bass strings through the instrument, so this is less of an issue in this one. It's more of an issue if you've got a standard bridge that your strings pull out this way. Because if you pull the strings out this way, if you rub them against the edge of the bass here, what you're going to do is just work that paintwork down. And these are, especially when using round wound strings, those, will grind through paintwork in no time at all. So what you want to do in that case is gently lift the strings up and pull them out, and sort of keep a finger underneath them to make sure that doesn't rub on there. This one, these actually go through the bass, so I can just pull them through here. But again, when I'm pulling them, I want to keep them away from the body of the bass. So if they rub against here, they will slowly saw through the paintwork or the lacquer of the bass. And, road-worn, vintage-looking instruments are cool, but you don't want to wear it down that fast. Or maybe you do. You by all means ignore my suggestions here. So that's the strings out of the bass itself. Now, these just can be binned now, but what I would suggest you do is I tend to gather up all the strings and just pull them into a coil. Feed them round. Normally, the strings will normally come delivered in this kind of coil. So if you pay attention to that when you open up a new set of strings, coil them up in the same sort of way. Just wind them in and out. They're a little bit bouncy, so they are tricky to do that. But then what you end up with is that, and that fits in a bin a lot easier, and it's less likely to ping everywhere and trap itself into your hands or whatever. So that gets binned, and then we're ready for the next stage.